Dozens of community members and city leaders gather Thursday near the southeast side Rockford neighborhood where the deadly attacks happened. We now go live to Gray TV's Tyler Peters, who was at the vigil.
I'm right at the corner of Charles Street and Hillcrest Road. This is where the community held a vigil just about an hour ago. Certainly an emotional moment for many, as all of them look to heal from this tragedy that happened just over 24 hours ago. Now, dozens of community members did show up for this vigil that was held here to honor the lives of the 4 people who died after yesterday's stabbing. Several community leaders spoke and everyone gathered to pray. People were able to sign crosses, each of one having a name of a person lost. The victims are Romana and Jacob Schubach, Jay Larson, and Jenna Newcomb. Jenna was just 15 years old, while Jay was a mail carrier for the U.S. Postal Service. Now, Rockford authorities are saying they're looking to move forward from this tragedy and are offering counseling service at a nearby middle school. That would be Flynn Middle School. For now, in Rockford, Tyler Peters.
Thank you, Tyler. We now know more about what happened in the deadly attack that took the lives of those 4 people and injured 7 others Wednesday afternoon in Rockford. 22-year-old Christian Soto is in custody at the Winnebago County Jail. He is accused of killing 4 people and leaving several others injured. The attack, according to police, took place on several streets in one Rockford neighborhood. The victims include a 49-year-old mail carrier and a 15-year-old girl. Soto claims his actions were the result of ingesting laced cannabis, a claim that police are currently investigating. Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara says the community must come together in face of such tragedy.
Unfortunately, we have been here before. We've experienced great loss, and we've shown tremendous strength and resiliency by supporting one another and coming together.
We all band together. I sent out the text message as soon as I got the call. It was a cry for help, and I told them we need help. And before we knew it, we had more personnel there than we needed yesterday.
A Winnebago County judge granted the state's petition to detain 22-year-old Christian Soto, who is accused of killing 4 people and injuring 7 others and terrorizing a southeast Rockford neighborhood Wednesday afternoon. Soto faces 11 different charges of murder and intent to kill and 2 counts of home invasion. Court records show he lives on Upland Drive, which is in the same neighborhood where the attacks took place. Investigators believe that Soto and one of the victims, 23-year-old Jacob Schubach, grew up together and were friends. His next court date for Soto is at 11 a.m. on April 2nd.